Dragon Queen, Chapter 10, Truth. Gliding downwards at a fast pace, Eowyn's stomach felt like it was 100 feet behind her. Waves of fear mixed tumultuously with a growing feeling of excitement as she let the air carry her. For the first time in a long time, Eowyn laughed. Wind rushed past her face and under her wings, the invisible force keeping her buoyant. She shrieked and giggled at the same time, a wonderful sense of thrill surging through her as she zipped over buildings and streets, trying to keep her wings straight and steady. Gerald held on for dear life. His arms were wrapped tightly around her neck, his teeth chattering. Keep it down! We don't want to wake the entire city! Eowyn shut her mouth, but a lingering grin still remained. This is amazing, she thought. That is, until the ground started to become too close for comfort. Eowyn recoiled upwards before smashing down on the hard stone pavement that made up the street. She stayed limp for a moment, groaning. She shook her head, which felt as if it were stabbed, and stumbled to her feet. Well, there's a first time for everything. Gerald rubbed his neck after the small whiplash he had sustained during the crash. Eowyn mumbled in an unintelligible reply before limping forward. She looked down and noticed several patches of scales were missing from her legs and chest. Wondering where they could have gone, she looked behind her and winced. Lying on the rough stone where they had landed were her missing red scales. Eowyn looked at Gerald in concern. It's fine, they'll grow back, he said, gripping her neck once again. Eowyn continued forward. The edge of the town was only a few blocks away, and a bit beyond that was the edge of the dome. There was no ice on the inside surface, so Eowyn assumed with a large fire blast they could melt through the metal vines and escape to the outside. The streets were eerily quiet despite the noisy crash landing. Only the sounds of Eowyn's padded footsteps mixed with the tip-tap of her claws against the pavement could be heard. Mist seethed between buildings, oozing through alleyways like blood from a slashed-open artery. The musky smell of furnaces and ash permeated the air. Only 2 more blocks now, Eowyn thought. Then, well, she didn't really know the plan after escape. Confronting Gerald and revealing the truth was a very large priority. If he was honest with her, then his people could indeed change her back to human form. If he was really allied with the dragons and planned to sacrifice her, then she didn't know what she would do. She let out a deep breath, resigning herself to the fact that she had no choice either way now. A series of clanks and clinks originating from large metal cylinders lining the sidewalks caused Eowyn to jump. Hidden doors on them opened, steam fizzing out through pipes at the top. 6 automatons the size of humans rolled out of the cylinders on rubber wheels, turning to face Eowyn and Gerald with blinking green eyes. They were painted blue on the main parts of their bodies, with large golden stars welded to their chests. It is past curfew, citizen. If you are lost, please type your destination into the keypad on this unit's arm and it will guide you to where you need to be, the frontmost automaton stated. He held out a thick arm which had a mechanical keypad attached to it. Eowyn looked down at it, raising an eyebrow. Gerald shrugged and motioned her to go along with it. She typed perimeter of Cerubi City into his arm. A series of whistles and beeps spouted from its head. Then it gripped Eowyn's outstretched paw and pulled her forward. Thank you for visiting Cerubi City, it said in a metallic voice. This unit will now guide you to the perimeter of Cerubi City. We hope you enjoyed your stay. After her initial surprise at the robot's great strength, Eowyn allowed herself to be dragged along by the automaton as it rolled along the bumpy street with its rubber wheels for feet. The other 5 robots froze in place, then went back to their respective cylinders. Lighted windows turned to darkness as the group strode past. An odd tension rose in Eowyn's chest. 1 block left, she thought. They passed a bakery, a tavern, and a blacksmith's shop. The automaton made unsettling beeping noises. Then it stopped suddenly. It turned its head all the way around to face Eowyn with glowing yellow eyes. This unit has been ordered from High Command to take you directly to Cerubi Tower. We are sorry for the inconvenience. Please do not resist. It changed direction, now pulling Eowyn towards the center of the city. Eowyn ripped her paw from the bot's grasp, taking off for the side of the dome. The automaton gave a loud beep, and every single metal cylinder along the sidewalk opened with a slam. More bots streamed out, purple power gems contained in their heads pulsing with light. They formed a protective wall to block Eowyn's path, sprawling bronze shields snapping open in front of them. A surge of flame erupted from Eowyn's mouth, pouring over the robots. But once the fire died down, the automatons remained unharmed. Fireproof shields? Gerald mumbled to himself, readying his hands for spellcasting. A torrent of ice sprayed from his palm, which frosted the shields but didn't do much else. The bots rushed towards them in formation. Gerald took a deep breath, whispering a few harsh foreign words before giving a gasp and flinging his arms upward. The ground beneath the attacking automatons shook. Parts of it raised upward slightly with a sudden motion, causing the bots to be flung upwards, crashing down onto their backs. Aelwyn leapt over them as they recovered. A few of them raised their mechanical crossbows, shooting bolts laced with live electricity. Please stop resisting and allow yourself to be escorted by this unit, else we cannot guarantee your continued safety. The automatons got up, chasing the two down at a fast pace. Aelwyn's legs were damaged and scratched in various places, causing her stride to be slower than usual. The bots gained on them quickly. We're here! The side of the dome loomed upward, twisting bronze vines vibrating and sending out puffs of steam. As one, Aelwyn and Gerald bombarded the soft inside of the shield with piercing flame. The vines burst open, releasing a blast of freezing mist and splashes of cold water. Aelwyn shook drops out of her eyes and leapt out into the moist night air. The bots froze as they came into contact with the mist. Reaching perimeter of Cerubi City, this unit will travel back to its charging cylinder now or face violation code 334127/MOBA. Marking new destination. Their metallic voices chanted in unison. They turned and rolled slowly back to the street. Aelwyn laid out a haggard breath. Gerald did too. The campfire lit and sparkled with dancing white flames. Aelwyn curled her body around it, soaking in its restful warmth. Gerald leaned against her, one of Aelwyn's wings tucked over his body like a blanket. His leg was propped up against a rock on the cave floor. Gerald, Aelwyn started, tell me the truth. Are you a dragon? Crickets chirped peacefully from outside the entrance to the small cave. Nightingales sang sweet tunes as they gripped branches with taloned feet. Gerald cocked his head towards the sound. You almost let me die, he said finally. But I didn't let it go through. That's not the point. I thought you were one of them. I thought I could trust Cerubia, Aelwyn insisted. Even if I was, you just can't let me die like that. He paused. I really thought I was done for. I couldn't believe you had done that. You just turned your back on me. I didn't mean it like that. Yeah, you did. You wanted to have your precious human body back in exchange for my life. Aelwyn's claws dug into the ground. But I didn't! I didn't! I knew it was wrong, so I destroyed my chance to become human, my chance to lead an army at my mother's friend's side, and my one true chance to take my kingdom back before any more people died. I gave all of that up for your life. Can't you understand why I'd hesitate? I'm so sorry, Gerald, but she told me your mother had killed mine. I'm still not even sure if you're a dragon or not. Gerald rolled his eyes. I'm not. My mom isn't the Dragon Empress either, and I'm definitely not planning on sacrificing you to Arya, he spat. How in the world do you know so much about dragons then? And transformation? My tribe specializes in transformation magic. Gerald traced a circle on Aelwyn's wing. I'm not really an expert myself. I just know what I've picked up from my dad and mom. Why haven't I ever seen you transform? Surely the form of some kind of other creature would have been helpful during our travels. Aelwyn picked at a freshly wrapped bandage on her leg. Gerald's head fell. I've never actually transformed before. Why? I've seen people go through their first transformation. It looks painful. Their screams, their crying afterwards. He shuddered. Aelwyn thought back to her own transmogrification. She too shuddered. So you're afraid, she stated. Well, yeah, I guess I am. And that's also why you ran away from home. Gerald jolted upward, whipping his head around to face Aelwyn. How did you... You're traveling alone, and you're too young to be doing that on your own. You're greatly ashamed of something. You still have parents. It's kind of obvious. A beet red color spread across Gerald's face. He crossed his arms and slid downward. Yeah, I guess. Will your people accept me and help me? Aelwyn questioned. I mean, I'm a follower of Kanan. Not to mention the daughter of Lyriel, Gerald mumbled. Why does that matter? Aelwyn, your mom really didn't like us. Gerald sounded like he was choking up. She did a lot of things that were not kind. What kind of things? A knot of tension formed in Aelwyn's chest. She's killed people I know. Aelwyn froze. Why? Because we don't agree with her. Because we follow Arya. He paused. Because we can transform into dragons. Aelwyn's mouth was dry. A million thoughts rushed like a cascading waterfall into her mind, a river of shock and doubt churning in a rushing wave. Are your people really the dragons that attacked my city? The ones who broke into my home and ruined my life? The ones who killed countless citizens of my kingdom? Was it for revenge? No! Gerald yelled, waving his hands frantically, silencing the frenzied princess. I told you, we're enemies with the dragons as much as you. However, they don't know we're still around. They think we all died out or became part of Lyriel's kingdom long ago. Gerald, who are your people? We keep ourselves hidden to the rest of the world, so it makes sense you've never heard of us. We call ourselves the Koana. Koa means Arya, and the Ana means follower. Like I said before, my real name is Kotuya, meaning blessed by Arya. We're nomadic, traveling whenever we feel a current spot is not safe. I know where our current encampment is, though. I can use the map to get us there within about 2 days. And your people's history. I think my dad would be a better person to explain all that. Gerald sank deeper under the wing. He's the village historian. Are you sure he'd want to, considering my heritage? Yeah, I'll convince him. Aelwyn's stomach growled, causing Gerald to jump slightly. Oh, right. Food. He smirked. That's kind of necessary. He pulled out a few travel bars from his bag. I'm sorry, this is all I have right now, since I haven't been able to hunt. They ate in silence. Aelwyn mulled over what her mother may have done to Gerald's people. She'd never really known how her mother had ruled the country. A sinking feeling of doubt crept up her spine. Was her mother really the shining ideal she'd always thought of her as? Cerubia had proven to be as nasty as Gerald said she was, yet her mother had said she was trustworthy. Both of our legs are not going to last us the journey in this state. That means the only other way is... to fly? Aelwyn interrupted. Gerald smiled. Yeah, I'm gonna teach you how to fly. Thank you, Kotuya. He nodded. And I'm sorry. I really am. Aelwyn closed her eyes. Me too. That night, Aelwyn dreamed of her father, lost in the woods and crying for help as demonic wolves tore at his flesh. Her mother stood on a mountain while gazing at the forest below, watching her husband suffer.